Hello, everyone. Poisho Takwenya, bonjour. We are glad that you are able to join us in these conversations on voices of resilience, Indigenous language and revitalization. And as is tradition for Indigenous people to begin a meeting in a good way, we have a prayer video from a young Borana boy who's also part of an initiative supported by Pawanka to learn their language, and they send this video for prayer, and it's in Borana language. We'll play the video, and the prayer shortly is about talking about peace, sacredness of our environment, and also calling for peace on earth, peace in all areas, water points, pasture, leadership, and also calling for a better outlook for the future, but also that may people continue to practice their ancestral culture. May we have plenty to carry us on, and may we live in sustainability and have plenty to sustain the future, and may peace prevail. May we prosper and multiply for generations to come. So may I ask David one to play the video.
Gadaan nagaa, gadamoojin taruuba nagaa, gadaan tafuraa nagaa, bokkeenni roobe haaradan balaguut, nageenni gale moonaguut, nagaa waaqat nuguut, nu warbareetu, qadiyabariin nagaa, waddaay dullacha, nageenni keen dulladdu'i, bobbaa marraa qadee, marroon karraa qadee, niitiin dhiirsa qadee, ilmi abbaa qadee, mirgoo gooboo qadee, mirgisa mucafraani qadee, ormataa bultum sugaat nu qadee, Ora bula dewa, angga paman dambula, bubba galchun deradda, kesan ilmadda, kesan ilgadda, naga, ora naga angga.
Yeah, thank you. I think it was a good way to have a prayer video from one of the young children that are learning their language and to speak in their language and to pray and to use it in their daily life as a way to start us off. I'd like now, I'm Edna Kaptoyo, a support matchmaking and partnership at Pawanka, and I'm joined by my colleagues as well, who will introduce themselves later. So I'd like us to begin the session, and we have people also who are joining us. You're welcome. I'd like to pass it off to Carla Bush, who's our program director for partnerships as well, and also supporting programs and also the teams within Pawanka to lead this session and to support the facilitation. Carla, you have the floor.
Dear
Hello,
Carla,
you're on mute.
You're mute.
I'm so sorry. Good morning, good evening, good night. Edna is my co-facilitator in this webinar. Welcome everyone to the Voices of Resilience of Indigenous Language Revitalization. It is my esteemed honor to be here today with you. I will be, as I said, co-facilitating this conversation with my colleagues. We are here with all of Pawanka's staff from the 7 sociocultural regions of the world. We're so happy for you to be joining us here today. My name is Carla Maria Bush, and I'm the program director of the Pawanka Fund. On behalf of the Pawanka governance body, I would like to welcome you all here today. As you know, through this webinar, we aim to bring together Indigenous leaders to talk about language, to talk about your experience, to talk about what you've been doing, and to share the strategies and the learning that you have had over the past years by fostering these dialogues and strengthening the partnership that we hope you'll be able to do through this conversation and through many more. This is just one of many that we will have during the year. Just tonight, we will have another one about the same topic with the colleagues and our partners in Asia. The objective is that we can collectively contribute to resurgence of Indigenous language, ensuring that they remain vibrant and contribute to thrive for generations to come. Indigenous language, we know, that are coming to an extinct, and we want to make sure that we can continue to uphold these. And we know that they have and continue to be the pride of our culture, strengthening community resilience and asserting self-determination. Language is deeply connected to the land, to stewardship, to governance and spiritual practices. As you just heard from the youth, what it means to us is the pillar and is the key to Indigenous movement and the right of sovereignty. Recognizing this is precisely the urgency and the reason why Pawanka continue to support these initiatives. The majority of our support, which we bring to the table, has always been due to the support and the I would say the need from Indigenous people. And this is a commonly request that the Indigenous organization brings to the table. Today, we're going to hear from 5 of our Indigenous organizations that put this on the top of their priority. 5 from Africa to share their experience and lessons learned in the revitalization of Indigenous language. This will be followed by a round table of questions and answers moderated by Edna Captoyo and myself. Today, we would learn from them their strategies that they have used to promote, to uphold, and to pass on to the next generation. We hope that with this, we will be able to have one more model examples of how Africa organizations are using to revitalize practices and strengthen and preserve and restore language and uphold this for the next generation. In Pawanka, we call them entry points towards self-determination. Pawanka has supported during the decade of their existence more than 17 of these initiatives in Africa, directly linked towards this, but indirectly has been more than 84. Before we get to know the speakers of the day, I would like to refresh our mind a bit of the context and key data about language to set the stage of this conversation. Indigenous people make up less than 6% of the global population, yet they speak more than 4,000 of the world's almost 7,000 languages. They are direct prediction of 95% of the world language they become extinct. They may become extinct. Seriously endanger Indigenous language constitute the majority of these. The persistence of Indigenous language is clear proof of Indigenous people assertion of their distinct identity and self-determination. The Article 13 of the United Nations Declaration of the Right of Indigenous People states that Indigenous people have the right to revitalize, use, develop, and transmit to the future generation their language. The Article 14 and 16 state that Indigenous people's right is to establish their educational system and media in their own language and to have access to an education in their own language. The heart of language revitalization is to ensure it never become extinct and that it aims to ensure the language will be passed to the future generation. And that's what we are here to do. And that's what Pawanka mission is, to ensure that language keep on going from here to the next generation. So today we'll hear from Juliana, from Rhoda, from Payne, from Miriam and Marisa, what they've been doing to promote, to preserve, to secure their language which is the main model and strategy of learning. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for being here, for making time, for making this a priority, and for continuing learning about this. So without further ado, I would like to start by introducing our panelists. I would like to start by introducing Juliana Loshira, who is an Indigenous young mom. We have a slide, and then she will speak. We'll show this slide, but look, Juliana is an Indigenous language activist, a cultural educator, a community project manager from the Yayu community in Mugogo, from Laikipia, North Kenya. She's one of the few remaining fluent speakers of the endangered Yakuntu language, committed to cultural revitalization, intergenerational knowledge transfer, and Indigenous rights. She currently serves as a project manager at the Indigenous Young Moms, where she leads community-based program focused on women and youth and empowerment, language preservation, traditional ecological knowledge, and climate resilience. Her leadership integrates grassroots organization with storytelling, and she promotes sustainable development within her community. I will also introduce 3 of the speakers, and then I'll ask my colleague Edna to introduce 2 before we start with the conversation. And I'll also embrace the opportunity to talk about the methodology before we start. So the second speaker of the day will also, then I'll ask my colleague Juan to share the different videos as they speak, but right now I'll just do the introduction. Our second speaker of the day will be Mariam Borania from the ONG Pine, who will have a video to share with us. She's an Indigenous Fulani woman from Benin. She studied law, and she's in charge of project at the NGO in Pine, an organization that defends and promotes the right of Fulani girls and women in Benin. She has participated in national, regional, and global policy process defending Indigenous people's rights. And my third speaker of our conversation for today will be Eulani Mako. She's from Ujamaka Community Research Team, and she's an executive director of Umanya Community, an organization dedicated to community development and empowerment. With a decade-long tenure, she has traversed various roles, demonstrating her commitment to grassroots engagement and gender equality. I will ask Edna to please introduce our speaker number 4 and our speaker number 5. Thank you, Edna.
Thank you, Carla. Our other speaker is Marisa Jochebed from Dignité Pygmy, and she's a young activist for the rights of Indigenous people and Indigenous Pygmy women and the traditional culture of the Batwa Bambuti community in South Kivu in Democratic Republic of Congo. Since 2018, she has worked as a gender, social inclusion and family promotion officer at Dignity Pygmy, witnessing the challenges faced by women and youth in her community regarding access to education, recognition of their land, and preservation of their culture. She decided to become a strong voice of her community. So welcome, Marisa. And the 5th speaker we have is Rhoda Rotino from Kenya, from Pastoral Communities Empowerment Program. She's a seasoned social development and policy specialist with over 30 years of experience working with Indigenous communities, women's rights, and climate resilience. As Executive Director of PASEP in West Pokot County, she leads initiatives that strengthen women networks, revives Indigenous languages and food systems, and promote biodiversity restoration. And I also like to mention that we also have, I've seen a number of our partners from Latu Livestream, Amazigh, others also who have joined as well and implementing incredible initiative on language. And so later on, when we have time, I'm sure they'll chime in and also give a contribution. So I send it back to you, Carla, and a warm welcome to our partners.
Thank you, Edna. Welcome. So you have met our panelists. These are 5 distinguished, honorable presenters that you'll have here today. And I would now like to share with you the methodology of this conversation. So we will begin by introducing the methodology of this conversation. So we hope to have an open and a participatory conversation today. We will hear from our participants as we introduce them in that same order. And the whole objective is that they will share their different strategies that they've been using to revitalize their the language, the challenges, the impact, lessons learned, and what strategies they use to transmit this to the next generation. And so without further ado, we will start with the same order that I introduce you. We will start hearing from Juliana. Welcome, Juliana. The floor is yours. Thank you so much for making time to be here.
Thank you so very much, everyone. I'm really grateful and humbled to be here today to be your speaker, to speak about our successful story and also how we're dealing with language revitalization. You have heard about me and what I do for my people. So I'll go straight away to introduce our work and who we are as Yaku. We are Indigenous hunter-gatherer community in Mkogodo Forest, Laikipia, North Kenya, traditionally beekeepers and forest stewards. Yakunta language is endangered only with two fluent speakers. Being a leader who have been spearheading this program to help and support the community to do revitalization of the language as a young only fluent speaker, it has really been a great move whereby language carries ecological inspiration and cultural knowledge. The purpose of why language revitalization matters, I always say that language equals to identity plus memory and plus connection. When language is revived, we get the pride, traditional knowledge, and self-determination, whereby it helps us build intergenerational bridges through stories and ceremonies. For my community, UNESCO, UNESCO had already, listed us as critically endangered. And having only 2 speakers in the community speaking the language is really hazardous. And we decided that if we will not revive the language, what can we do? So our strategies that are powered by community and also supported by Pawanka, we started doing the revitalization of the language through documenting and archiving using the audio and video and written materials. We have a school that we constructed called Yaku Center of Hope, where we have enrolled 3,000 people who are really interested, high number being young people, especially from age of 9 to age of 30s, whereby they're there to help us to come and learn the language. Through that, we have really, the strategies we have used is that we have a living dictionary that we have digitized it, linked to sound and meaning. So as these children can really have something that they can use when they come to the learning center. Pawanka Fund supported us to come up with a curriculum development that we have shared with the schools and also with the adults so as they can use at home. When we started that, we thought of also storytelling, passing by the message to the children, where theater to revive oral traditions, where elders come to the Yaku Center of Hope to get to teach children the language and also through stories as we document them. We have a youth engagement through camps and workshops that we have started that is ongoing, and we are continuing doing the documentation of what they are doing in the camps. Like they come also and do competition of proverbs, spelling of words in Yakunte language. Impact so far, I can say 100+ youth have already created the groups that they come and they compete themselves. We have also first digitalized our dictionary that is also helping us in a great way. We have a monthly community language circles that they come, and then now we have a competition between them. And we have a cultural pride growing, language returns to our daily life. Women are the ones who are in forefront, as they are the ones are helping us, since they are great of knowledge keepers as teachers. We have several challenges that we have been facing severally. The language stigma and trauma, and lack of, let me say, lack of materials that are sharing with 3,000 people is really a big struggle. So the materials have been a challenge for us. Also, I can say the climate change threatening forest and heritage has been a big struggle. We came up with an idea called a word forest dictionary. And
Liana, can I interrupt you
yes,
for a second there? Would you mind speaking a little bit slower so that the interpreter can follow, because you speak very fast? Thank you there.
sorry. Thank you so much.
You're more than
I
welcome.
can really,
Thanks.
thank you. So let me be slow. So I can really say that from the challenges that we have been getting is about the climate change threatening forest and heritage. It has been a struggle for us since we live in the forest, and we came up with an idea called word forest dictionary. And most of the time we cannot access the forest to do our activities, especially for the word forest dictionary. The idea that we came up with the word forest dictionary is planting trees. As we get students to learn the words, we plant trees through the words the children or the young people have understood. We tag with metallic friendly tags written in Yakunte and translated in English or Swahili language. As the tree grows, the language also grows. And it has been helping us to really take care of our forest, Mukogodo forest. And through that activity, we had successfully 2 years ago accomplished to plant more than 10,000 trees. But now the challenge has been there from now us not getting to the forest because of insecurity issues about the boundary issues that people cannot access it. So this climate change has been affecting us. I can really say another challenge that we have been facing also is about the project we started called the Bee Whisperer Project, whereby we train our children, our young people about how to speak to bees and how to treat bees, because we have rich traditional knowledge on how to use herbs to treat bees. So we teach them on how to bring back our cultures that got lost before. So we have a big team of bee whisperers that we are training. So sometimes it gets to be a challenge because also of the distance the people have, because we are scattered as a community. So most of the time we have such a challenge, but we're trying our best to make sure that we eradicate it from our hope from the way forward we have. Let me say that through the language revitalization program, we have really done a big work, let me say, because we have inspired even other communities like Maasai community around us, and they're really up to now going to make a curriculum. They're emulating what we have done. Through the Pawanka Fund, we have really seen a great move. For the successful stories, I can say that the Kenya Institute of Curriculum Development have approved our curriculum, whereby we are going to use it for our people to get to learn more about it and also to share with others. And our hope forward is collaborating with other Indigenous communities so as we can have, let me say, interchanging our ideas so as we can also get something maybe we don't have from our community that we're training to get for our children, for our intergenerational passing of the knowledge. So we have intergenerational language festivals that are ongoing, like August will be having a big one that people will be celebrating our culture, our songs. Yeah, you see, culture comes with songs and all that. And we really appreciate that. Also looking forward that we hope that the national government will really recognize us as Yakunte people to give us a code, so as also we may be like others. And let me say, a story is a story of strength, because from 2 speakers now, from the time we started revitalizing the language, we are now able to get 15 people who can speak basic language. And I can really say that now we are hopeful after the Pawanka have funded us that by the end of year, we'll produce more teachers who have been trained from the language classes training that is ongoing. I can say that my last word is that when I walk through the Nkogodo forest and speak in Yakunte, I hear my ancestors whispering through the trees. The bees hum in our language, the forest listens. This is not just language, it is life. So if we all bring all this together, we are bringing back life. When we bring language, we are bringing back life because the forest, the nature needs us. So I can really say that let's all hold our hands together, strengthen each other's voices. And I know it's not about your
I think we are losing you, Juliana. Juliana, I think we've lost you a bit.
Hello, Edna.
Yeah, we can hear you now. You are giving your final, we lost the last bit.
You didn't get me clear.
The last
bit.
part. Yeah.
I was really saying that we really have to stand together in solidarity to make sure that our languages thrives. Because when we have our languages and cultures, it's really our, let me say, like indigenous knowledge is a solution to all the climate crisis and everything that we think of. So I can really say our indigenous knowledge is more important for us. So if we all hold our hands and make sure that we really pass it to the young generation, we really never lose our languages.
Yeah, thank you, Juliana. I think you summed up a lot of the questions in terms of really the importance of revitalizing Yaku language for this development and also the well-being of the Yakunte language and also for the people, but also how you integrated it into how you manage your landscapes as well, the forest landscape, but also you've highlighted the importance of language revitalization really in how communities as well are building intergenerational bridges, which I think is key to transition for communities and also to build that governance with a different generation and understanding, but also you've highlighted important avenues you're using to do the storytelling, to advance your language, and also the festival, and also integrating and getting into the school system, because that is important for advancing policy and also ensuring language is also respected within the formal school system. So unless anyone has a question, but we'll open for questions, I'd like to pass it on to Carla to continue with the next speaker, and then we'll open the floor later. Carla.
Thank you very much, Edna. That was wonderful, Luciana. Juliana, that was really, really nice. I can't wait to hear more, but I know that your internet is not nice right now. I was curious about that example that you talked about. The way the youth was planting a tree, and at the same time, you know, how the language was growing simultaneously along with that. That analogy and was really inspiring. You know, I would really love to hear more about that. But I would like to continue to hear more and see how other speakers can also probably build on that if that's something that they also do. But I will move on from Juliana and now enter to Miriam, who is from the ONG Pine, and she has a video that she would share with us now. And with Miriam, thank you so much again. You're more than welcome to be here, and we are more than honored to have you here.
Vous me recevez?
The floor is yours, Miriam. Thank you so much.
Oui, bonsoir, vous me recevez? Allô,
Si, oui,
vous me recevez?
oui.
Ok,
Oui,
ok.
Mariam, yes.
Ok, d'entrée, permettez-moi de remercier l'équipe Pawanka pour l'opportunité qui nous est offerte de présenter un peu notre travail sur le terrain en matière de revitalisation de la langue autochtone et notamment la langue Peul au Bénin. Qu'est-ce qui nous a poussé à porter une initiative en matière de revitalisation de la langue? Et nous avons constaté que beaucoup de jeunes Peuls, quand ils étudient et ils atteignent le niveau supérieur, les études universitaires, ou bien quand ils ont un emploi, une promotion d'un emploi, ce sont des gens qui n'aiment plus parler leur langue. En matière de revitalisation de la langue autochtone, Peul, nous avons eu à faire, ça a porté sur 3 étapes principales. La première des choses que nous avons eu à faire, c'est d'échanger avec les étudiants et les élèves Peul sur ce qui cause le déclin de la langue autochtone Peul au Bénin. La deuxième chose que nous avons eu à faire, c'est d'organiser des séances de détermination d'une stratégie de revitalisation de la langue Peul au sein des communes cibles. Et la troisième étape, ce sont des séances mensuelles, yeutere comme on le dit dans la langue, qui veut dire causerie débat, que nous avons eu à organiser chaque mois au sein des communes cibles. Concernant la première étape, qui est de parler d'identifier les causes du déclin de la langue Peul au Bénin, nous avons remarqué qu'il y a la honte de parler la langue Peul en public. Qu'est-ce qu'il y a? Il y a beaucoup de jeunes Peul qui, dès qu'ils sont en public, ils ont honte de s'exprimer dans leur langue. La deuxième chose, c'est les mariages mixtes. Les mariages avec d'autres communautés, que ce soit autochtones ou pas, font que les couples, si je prends par exemple, c'est la femme qui est Peul, elle s'adapte de la langue de son conjoint et au détriment de sa langue. Elle ne parle plus sa langue avec ses enfants, elle oublie sa langue et elle parle la langue du milieu. Et la troisième chose, c'est le fait que la communauté Peul soit une communauté minoritaire au Bénin. De telle sorte que nous avons tendance à parler les autres langues qui dominent au détriment de notre langue. La cinquième chose, c'est les préjugés et les stigmatisations dont sont, auteurs ou bien sont victimes les Peuls au Bénin. Ça fait que, à cause de ces stigmatisations, on n'a même plus envie de dire que, bon, on fait partie de la communauté, ni de s'exprimer quand on se retrouve en public avec des amis, dans de creusets ou pas. Donc, c'est en matière de cause qui fait que la langue est en train de disparaître. C'est ce que nous avons noté. Maintenant, en termes de stratégie, nous avons noté, les bénéficiaires ont noté que pour eux, qu'il faille d'abord sensibiliser les parents Peul en milieu urbain sur la nécessité de parler la langue avec les enfants à la maison. Quand je prends par exemple les couples mixtes où la femme Peul ou bien le mari Peul ne veut pas parler sa langue avec les enfants. Avec les sensibilisations, on arrive à leur faire comprendre l'importance de parler la langue, les deux langues. Et il y a des couples mixtes qu'on a sensibilisés qui ont, au début, ne parlaient pas, mais qui ont pu commencer par parler maintenant la langue avec leurs enfants. Nous avons aussi créé au sein des collèges et des clubs de causerie débat entre élèves Peuls. Ces causeries débat, ils choisissent des jours où ils se retrouvent et ils échangent sur des thématiques données en lien avec la communauté Peul dans leur langue. Nous avons aussi mobilisé la communauté pour participer aux émissions interactives en Peul. Ça, nous avons eu à faire ça dans les radios communautaires, dans chacune des communes cibles où nous avons invité une personne ressource qui comprend bien la langue et qui parle bien la langue. Et nous avons invité maintenant des jeunes qui ne parlent pas bien la langue, où nous avons eu des échanges interactifs pour essayer de sensibiliser une grande couche. Voilà. Maintenant, en dernière position, c'est les séances mensuelles de Yeutere. Comme je le disais, Yeutere, c'est causerie débat, où chaque mois, les bénéficiaires se retrouvent dans chaque commune pour échanger sur des thématiques données. Par exemple, c'est des jeunes qui avant ne comprenaient, qui ne savaient même pas parler ou bien citer les mots en langue peul, ou bien citer 1, 2 jusqu'à infini dans leur langue, ou bien donner le nom des animaux dans leur langue. Avec les séances, ils ont pu être, comment dire, on les a pu donner les bonnes expressions, on les a formés et ils ont commencé par s'exprimer bien en langue peul. Et ce sont ces jeunes-là qui ont été même à ces émissions radio pour un peu partager les expériences, ce qu'ils pensent qu'on devrait faire en matière de revitalisation de la langue. C'est au cours de ces séances même que l'une des bénéficiaires a proposé que pour ce qui est des mariages mixtes, qu'il faudrait, par exemple, alterner les vacances des enfants. Par exemple, je suis Peul, je me marie avec un non-Peul. Pendant les vacances, nos enfants, les premières vacances, les enfants iront chez ma maman en vacances. Donc, ils auront l'occasion de parler la langue avec ma maman. Pour les prochaines vacances, ça peut être maintenant chez le mari et ainsi de suite. Ça leur permet de comprendre les deux langues au détriment, et non de comprendre une langue au détriment de l'autre. Donc, c'est un peu ce que nous avons eu à faire. En termes de défis, oui, nous avons eu des défis et nous nous sommes adaptés au fur et à mesure. C'est un projet qui a été mis en œuvre dans une période où il y avait les travaux champêtres. Alors, ce qui a fait que quand on se déplaçait pour aller vers les couples mixtes, par exemple, il est arrivé où soit c'est le mari qui n'est pas là, soit c'est la femme qui n'est pas là. Or, lors des séances de sensibilisation, nous avons exigé qu'il y ait les deux, qu'il y ait tous les deux, le mari et la femme, pour qu'on puisse bien échanger avec eux et attirer leur attention sur la question de revitalisation de la langue peul au Bénin. Donc, il est arrivé où soit l'un est absent et ce que nous avons eu à faire, c'est de reporter les séances et d'adapter maintenant nos séances de sensibilisation en fonction de leur disponibilité. C'est ce que nous avons eu à faire en termes de défis. En termes de leçons, le projet que nous avons mis en œuvre grâce à l'appui de Pawanka, que je remercie énormément, nous a permis également d'appuyer l'association des étudiants Peul du Nord Bénin sur la question d'alphabétisation en langue Peul. C'est une association qui regroupe uniquement les étudiants Peul du Nord Bénin et ils ont instauré une formation en alphabétisation de la langue. Donc, grâce à ce projet, une suite du projet, nous avons pu échanger avec eux et les appuyer sur l'alphabétisation de la langue Peul. Donc, c'est un peu la vidéo qui a été projetée. C'était au cours de notre atelier d'élaboration du document cadre de revitalisation et de promotion de la langue peul au Bénin. C'est à l'issue des différentes étapes que j'ai citées, à savoir identification d'abord des causes, maintenant déterminer la stratégie et après les causeries, débats, les causeries que nous avons eu à faire. Ce document, nous l'avons partagé pour ceux et celles qui auront envie de le lire. Je pense qu'ils peuvent se rapprocher de Edna plus. Je reste quand même disponible pour d'éventuelles questions de compréhension. Merci beaucoup.
So we are back. Thank you, Mariam. I think I hand it over to Carla to introduce the next speaker. And if you have any questions, please have them ready.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Bessie. This was very helpful. And we will ask you to please hold your question, that we'll have one more speaker and then we'll open it up to everyone to have this conversation so that you can ask the three speakers who will be ones to answer your questions right after this. We'll have a break for questioning now. That would take us at least 20-30 minutes there, where you could ask the speaker number one, speaker number two, and our third speaker that I will introduce now is Payne Ulali from the Ujama Community Research. Remember, just for those who are just joining, Payne is the executive director of the community and from UCRT. She's dedicated working for the development and empowerment. Payne has transversed various roles, demonstrating her commitment to grassroots engagement and gender equality. Welcome, Payne. The floor is yours. Please share with us your experience and work, challenges and lessons learned, or whatever you have worked around language revitalization. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Carla and Edna.
You're welcome.
And the entire Pawanka team for organizing this meetup to bring us all together to learn from each other. It's very interesting, and I'm happy also to share my perspective. As Carla introduced, I am Payne and working with the Ujama Community Resource Team, which is basically focused on land rights, land management, governance for pastoralists and hunter-gatherers in Tanzania. So as we all know, land is very closely connected and related to language, and we use a lot of our language to describe our indigenous attachment to land and natural resources. So this topic is practically very crucial for all of us in different sectors. A language is not a language. I mean, when a language is not used by government or not used for educational purposes or not used for business purposes or even used as a communication medium, the language remains threatened. And that is the case for most of our indigenous languages. The Akie language, and the Akie is an endangered language that is only spoken by the elderly. The wider Akie community speak majorly Ma, and in fact, the youth hardly speak any Akie anymore. That's what makes Akie language endangered, and we may lose it if it's not rescued. So we were lucky enough to get funding from Pawanka to try out a revitalization approach of the Akie language. The Akie are a minority in Tanzania. In fact, they are estimated to be 2,500 in numbers, and they are found in Manyara region, one of the 31 regions in Tanzania. Mainly for those who are conversant with Tanzania, mainly found in Simanjiro and Kiteto districts, and you will find them in numbers in sub-villages, but you will not find them in an entire village. Also, the Akie is one of the 126 languages found in Tanzania. But as I said, they are quickly being assimilated by the larger tribes, particularly the Maasai. The Akie's livelihood is basically described as hunting and gathering, and livestock keepers nickname them as Dorobo, which means, if I can translate, those with nothing. The livestock keepers tend to marry off the Akie girls, and the Akie cannot afford to marry livestock keeper girls because it means you have to pay heads of livestock for the bride price, which they do not have. The challenges that the Akie mainly face are shortage of forest food due to climate change, but rapid loss of land, mainly to farming communities. But also they lack legal recognition of their hunting and gathering activities. Therefore, sometimes their hunting activities are criminalized in certain areas, such as the wildlife management areas surrounding them. So basically, what we did is have an open dialogue with the Akie community about language revitalization. So they basically recommended or also mentioned elders who can still speak fluent Akie language and who also understand deeply the Akie way of living and culture. So when these elders were identified, a center was located in one of their areas, Ngapapa Center, and 27 elders were selected, men and women, although majority were men. And then they met with the expert to support them document their Akie culture, mostly in Swahili, into a booklet. And within the booklet, there are sections, obviously, with key Akie language terms translated into Swahili, which was a recommendation from the elders that we have a section where we have key Akie language terms translated to Swahili for young going school kids to also access this documentation and adapt and learn their Akie language. But the good thing about the booklet that was produced, it also included photos, photos of, key cultural practices, such as how the process in which the Akie go through to get rid of bad omen, traditional fire lighting, the gathering practices, traditional tools like honey, leather bags, bows and arrows and others, but also plants, certain plants and their uses, and particularly the plants they use to extract poison for their arrows. Other sections will show the traditional beer production, which is sometimes used as a cleansing ritual, among other things, to remind or to have it as a living document to remind the upcoming generation of the traditions and the practices of their parents. So the communities then validated the final booklet and was distributed to the elders, who also used this for their lessons or their classes, because the communities agreed that they would have evening classes 3 times a week for elders to teach young school-going kids their Akie language, using the booklet and keywords in Akie, but also storytellings of their traditional practices. So the other key thing towards language revitalization that they agreed as a community was to try as much as possible to use their Akie language at the household level to communicate. And this particularly was assigned to parents, and the elders that were selected to monitor this process would also visit the households to see how they are using their Akie language to teach their kids and how the process is going. The learnings of this is, because it was a short-term project, revitalization takes time and also resources. And to ensure that it takes roots and this continues to grow amongst the community members, it's critical to have a longer-term intervention around language revitalization. But the other plan we have ahead of us is to have the Akie visit the Hadza community, the Hadzabe, who is also a hunter-gatherer group, to visit them, because they seem to have a more vibrant, active language use in their area, to visit them and have an exchange of how they are doing this. And probably this will also, inspire their Akie to push forward in revitalizing their language. Finally, I just wanted to retaliate that using our own indigenous languages, there are certain things that can only be well described when we use our own indigenous languages. Sometimes when we translate this, we either tend to lose the sweetness of it, the real meaning of it, but also we might lose the real connection of the language to our culture and to our traditions. Thank you.
Thank you so much. You're absolutely right on that note. There are certain things that cannot be translated. I'm a Creole woman from the Atlantic coast of Nicaragua, and there are certain things that we say, we just can't find the word in English nor in Spanish. So I understand what you're saying. Before we pass on to the second, I would say the second level of this conversation, I would just like to say thank you so much to Juliana. Thank you so much to Miriam, and thank you so much to Payne. And before we open this up for a questioning and answer to the 3 panelists, I would just like to briefly summarize what our colleagues, especially Edna, took notes on this and shared with me the summary of what your conversation was about. You highlighted, Juliana, from your presentation in one paragraph, the importance of language revitalization as an intergenerational bridge and for land and environmental stewardship. That's the essence of what you shared with us today. And I think that is clear how important language is for revitalizing intergenerational bridge and environmental stewardship. Miriam, you came along sharing with us the strategy to empower parents as language speakers and leveraging a different educational level to help sustain language revitalization initiative. You know, when we started this conversation, we mentioned that Pawanka, as you know, is a global Indigenous-led fund. We have presence in the 7 sociocultural regions of the world. And one of our projects that we have, one of our programs that we have in the Pacific, precisely talks exactly about this in Hawaii. One of our programs used exactly this strategy. So when you were speaking, we were just smiling to see that it also, without even bringing, because we do not believe in, you just can't just copy paste and bring it into a region because of all the richness and the culture. That just doesn't work. But to understand that you using a similar strategy in your country and it works in your region, it's overwhelming and it's inspiring. And I'm sure even though you're using that strategy, you adopt to your circumstances. So that was great to hear. And our last speaker of this segment, Peun Elali, she brought us an importance of how long-term support for language revitalization makes a very difference. It's exchange, also the exchange visit and the solidarity among Indigenous community is very important. We know that for a fact that language, you just cannot give a one-off support. We know that for experience, and everyone who works in development can relate to that, right? That you cannot just give a one-off grant and believe that with that you will do. It has to go, it's a process. That's why we call them initiative, and we build upon a process that you're already working on, because that will go on for years and years, because it goes from the root and it will continue for years to come. So that's very important that you brought pain, that support, that importance of the long-term sustainability. And with that, I would like to open it up to the audience, and we have 42 participants. And please, you could remove your mic, you could remove your also your camera, so we can see who we're talking to. If you have good connection, please do so. I love to see people's face. I love to see the face behind the name. And thank you so much, so we can hear you. And if you have questions, the speakers are there. Please ask them your questions, and the floor is yours. Thank you all so very much. Thank you, Payne, and Miriam, and also Juliana. Please ask your question. I'm here to facilitate this. My colleagues can assist us. Please read the chat, and if there is any question, you guys can help us. Maria Jose, Juan David.
Yes, we have a question that is in French. Give me a second, I will.
Go ahead. And he's directing the question, he's directing the question to which one of the speakers? Okay, great. So please.
Okay, I can go first. Thank you for your question. Representing Tanzania, and our national language is Swahili, and English is spoken also as an official language, but the popular language is Swahili, spoken by almost everyone, even in the rural setting. Generally, Tanzania does not recognize existence of indigenous people, even though we self-identify as indigenous people. It's an ongoing push to recognize us as indigenous people. So not being recognized as indigenous people will mean also indigenous languages are not very much encouraged. But in rural settings, people speak their own languages, and that's not penalized if you do so. There are positive sides to recognition of indigenous people, at least for the first time we are having conversations about indigenous people with our own government. I don't know where that will lead to, but at least we've had the initial conversation and some plans to continue dialoguing about indigenous people and recognition. So that's what I can say.
Thank you so much, Payne. Any other one of the speaker would like to add on that, or is your similar case in your country?
For me, the Yaku community, the government of Kenya does not really formally recognize the Yaku as a distinct tribe or either our language as an official national language. The Yakunte community will still remain under larger neighboring community, the Maasai. So, however, there is an active progress toward recognition. An International Day of Minorities that was December 2024. The head of public service affirmed that the Yaku would be included in affirmative action programs, including tribe coding and equal access to public service. So far, the activists are continuing to press for official constitutional recognition and tribe specific calls to ensure equitable allocation. Also, for our language also to be recognized. Hunter-gatherer forum is also pushing. We have already visited the office of the minority and the progress is continuing. In some few months, we'll be recognized.
Thank you very much, Juliana. And before I pass it to Ivan, I'm going to make sure Marianne, you have something you would like to say? It's one of the speakers.
Oui, effectivement. Merci beaucoup, Carla. Au Bénin, malheureusement, la langue Peul n'est pas officiellement reconnue comme une langue autochtone. Je m'explique. La communauté Peul, elle est reconnue, mais pas en tant que peuple autochtone actuellement. Normalement, conformément à la déclaration des Nations Unies sur les droits des peuples autochtones, on reconnaît un peuple autochtone selon les critères de l'auto-identification, la descendance d'habitants pré-colonisation, la préservation d'une identité culturelle distincte et incluant tradition, langue et systèmes sociaux politiques. Lien avec le territoire, marginalisation sociale et politique. Alors, ce que nous remarquons au Bénin, la reconnaissance n'est pas formelle, elle n'est pas formelle. Et notre organisation travaille pour que cela soit formel. Comme vous l'aurez remarqué, la communauté Peul est un peu dans toute l'Afrique, dans la région Afrique. Si elle est reconnue, par exemple, au Tchad, ce n'est pas le cas au Bénin formellement, et l'ONG Impine travaille pour que cela soit effectif à travers des lobbying, et prochainement nous pensons même porter un plaidoyer à l'endroit des autorités adéquates pour que cela soit effectif. Merci beaucoup.
Thank you, Miriam. And now I'll give the floor to Ivan, and then goes to Margaret, and then Mary. in that order. The floor is yours, Ivan.
Sorry, thank you very much, Carla. And yeah, thank you very much to each of the speakers. It's really interesting to hear, to all of the different stories and how people are overcoming all of these different struggles. But it's also quite sad to hear that, a lot of these struggles that people are facing in other countries, we are also dealing with the same struggles in Southern Africa. And I think the backbone of that really speaks to recognition. My first question would also have been, in terms of the recognition of the languages. And not just that, also the recognition of the indigenous group within that specific country. Because really then, a lot of priority is being given towards those groups. So in South Africa, we have a similar issue where the indigenous groups are not formally recognized. So hence also the indigenous languages are not formally recognized. They've actually gone a bit further in South Africa in terms of establishing an or rather an institution called PANSALP to really help with the in terms of the betterment of all of the different languages in South Africa. Unfortunately, due to the fact that we are not formally recognized, the San and Khoi languages doesn't form part of that. And my question to the speakers is that what form of support do you actually receive from your various governments in terms of the, to just support the languages? I've heard that in some of the countries there is a few speakers left. In our case, we have about 2-3 speakers that does not speak the language fluently. So that's what we have left in South Africa of the new language. So our struggle, is just, so I would just like to hear how the other speakers, what type of support do you receive except from donor and NGO funding? Thank you, Carla.
Thank you very much, Ivan. And which one of the speaker would like to please go now? Or you would like to hear all the, because we have, right now we have Margaret, Mary, and a question from Joseph there. Would you like, maybe we would go through, listen to these 3 questions and then answer them. And then if there is more, then we go to that. So let's just answer these questions and then we go ahead and have this. Let's go ahead that way. That way we just finish these 3 questions. Is that okay? Okay. So let's go to Margaret. Margaret,
Thank you so much, Carla.
You're welcome.
Yes, thank you so much, Carla. Mine is not a question, mine is a submission. The challenge that we look at is Ask Karamajang perspective. I look at poverty in the pastoral community because our people move from place to place. You find sometimes children lose the link between the parents because of movements, pastoral movement. And then secondly is modernization. Because we look at modernization, we say, let's take children to school. Children go to school and study. As they move higher, they go to other cities where to look for jobs. You find the children they bear don't know the language completely. They even don't know the people. And then you find that the government of Uganda is trying. The government of Uganda now is trying to make sure that they bring the language, the local language into the primary curriculum so that people of each language can be able to know their language. Then you find also that parents really don't teach their children the language. They have completely forgotten. They have forgotten it completely. You find that these children, they are of your tribe, but you find that sometimes they teach the child in English, not even in our language, in our languages. And then another one, what my colleague was complaining, was only submitting about intermarriages. That's one of the factors that sometimes bring a kind of a loss of language because of intermarrying. You find that sometimes these people can decide to not to teach children any language of any of them, and they concentrate on English, and then children lose language. So we have a lot of challenge that really we have to put across. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Margaret. And now, Mary. Mary? you had a question? Your hands are up.
Yes. Mahu, just talk. Thank you.
The floor is yours, please.
Okay, so this one's not talking. Oh yes, thank you. I'm very happy to join you for the first time.
Yes.
Yes. So thank you so much. I am Mary from Nuba Mountain, Sudan. And I am very happy to hear those my colleagues who are talking about the national languages, the languages. Even for us in Nuba Mountain, we have the same problem. But I would like to ask them, because like us in Nuba Mountain, we were having these missionaries. So we have schools from the missionaries. They decided to learn our language, then to come again and teach us in Nuba Mountain. So we have the elderly people who have learned the language, then they open the schools for the language, and they start teaching our young ones, and especially from 9 to 18, to teach them the language. And then the women, because they will like the women, they're the one who's using the language everywhere. And they want the women to teach their children back home, because they are the one who's staying with them all the time. So when the missionary went, we remain with our schools. But the government, because they don't recognize the language, so they don't want that language to be in schools, because our national language in Sudan is Arabic. All the people in the school just learn Arabic, and they write Arabic and they speak Arabic. Even if you want to learn your own language, they will tell you, if you speak your own language, that means you are not civilized. So the boys decided not to learn their own languages. But now, with the missionaries, they start to have their schools, which start with Arabic, English, and they said we have to put the indigenous languages for those people, because if we don't put the indigenous languages, then it will disappear. And it is disappearing surely. So for me, I will ask the three speakers that do not have the missionary schools in their towns, because those are the only people who can help us to learn our languages and make it is useful for their future. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary. Thank you very much. So following what the way we had structured this, there is one question. I don't know if there is more. Maria Jose, would you like to read the question in the chat for Joseph, please?
Okay, for Joseph.
Joseph has a question in the chat.
Yes. Let me see. This how do these languages coexist with formal languages, given that the younger generation has been exposed to foreign languages? How it assists the cultural system?
Could you please repeat that so that Payne and the other speakers can hear that?
Yes. So the question of Joseph was, how do these languages coexist with formal languages, given that the younger generation has been exposed to foreigner languages? How does it assist the cultural system?
Thank you very much. We'll pause there and give the floor to the speakers to answer the questions then that was brought up by Ivan, Miriam, Margaret, Mary, and Joseph. And there was one more question there that Rhoda, you still have a question that you would like to give?
Yes.
I was going to leave you for the next round, but if you wanted, maybe there is no other question up, just the one from Rhoda. Maybe if that's the only one, we could put it into this stage right now, and then when we
have
answer
one question more, Carla. I can read it.
Okay, go ahead.
So it says, how then can we ensure that revitalization efforts we put in is not futility? How do we integrate indigenous languages into formal education systems?
Thank you, Maria Jose. Please go ahead. Thank you very much. Dear speakers, the floor is yours. Please feel free to answer these questions as you feel like. Just let us know which one will start. Maybe Juliana, would you like to start? Or any one of
Can
them?
we
Okay, yes.
can we start from the first one flowing or from the last one?
Anyone, you choose. Thank you so much, Juliana.
Okay, I can really start to answer to say that from our government, there's no any support given to the teachers doing the language revitalization. The second one was, let me choose the ones I will answer. It's about the missionary schools, if they are there. For us, Yaku community, we have missionary schools, but we have really decided to have our own school that we teach our language during the summer seasons. And this has been helpful for us. The other one is the other question that I've had is how to ensure indigenous languages revitalization is incorporated into the system. I can really say that we can use legal and policy recognition to advocate for formal recognition of our languages in our countries. We push for the implementation of the government, let me say from our country, the national language policy, currently under the development through the Ministry of the Culture. And I can really advise that we align with the international instruments like UNDRIP, UN Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples, and also UNESCO's Decade of Indigenous Languages 2022-2032. And also I can really say the integration into the education system, I could really advise that we develop and pilot mother tongue curriculum in early childhood programs in our communities. And also we can train local teachers or the community members in our community on our teaching methods and collaborate with the Ministry of Education because they're really supportive. Let me use example of my country to create culturally responsive education programs and also introducing, coming up with the cultural ecological programs. It can really help. And I can really add to say media, arts, and technology. We partner with community radio stations or YouTube creators to produce the stories and all that to support us so as to help in intergenerational transmission. And when we partner with people who can support it, it can really be of great thought. Yeah. The final thought I can say, like our language revitalization is not just a cultural issue, it's an issue of education, environmental protection, women empowerment, and justice to secure our future. And we build the same systems where our children can hear, speak, learn. So that's what I can really say, a brief about interpolicy brief development of this. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Juliana. Miriam or Payne, which one would like to go next?
Yeah, I think I concur with Juliana. We don't have any support from government, and we don't foresee that for that matter. I feel it has many more priorities on the agenda, but language is not one of them. There was the question of coexistence. I feel this is a matter of upbringing and how parents, in the upbringing of children, how they attach value to indigenous ways of doing things, indigenous way of thinking, and the indigenous languages. So if we have that from the onset. It's not hard for kids growing up to balance between foreign and indigenous. So that's what I feel about that. And then there was a question of other approaches. I think this could be a question for the floor, because I think we are here to learn and share experiences. So maybe if there are experiences from the floor for the purpose of diversity, we are also happy to hear. That was in relation to the French question. I think those are the, yeah.
Thank you so much, Payne. And you're absolutely right. If any member from the floor that are here can answer that, that's the whole purpose. We're all here, we're all speaker, we're all here to collaborate from our experience. We're all partners in this, absolutely. So if there is somebody could answer that question from the floor, please do feel free to do so. And the last speaker, please, Miriam, would you like to, you have anything to add and to these questions? If our Payne and Julianne has already said.
Merci beaucoup. Merci beaucoup. Sur la question relative au soutien, si on a des soutiens de l'État, je voulais dire, bon, même si ce n'est pas un soutien financier, nous avons quand même un soutien de l'État, vu que l'État est représenté par la mairie au niveau déconcentré. Donc, quand nous menons nos activités dans les communes, nous avons le soutien et l'accompagnement des autorités communales. Donc, sur ce point, nous avons vraiment leur soutien. Et je pense que même quand on mettait en œuvre ça a été une initiative qui a été vraiment accueillie par les autorités communales, parce que ce que nous avons l'habitude de faire, nous, avant même de commencer nos activités, nous organisons une activité de lancement où nous invitons les autorités étatiques au niveau déconcentré et nous leur parlons un peu de l'initiative, de ce que nous attendons d'eux, à savoir leur soutien et leur accompagnement. Donc, c'est un peu ça sur la question là. Sur la question, comment les langues coexistent-elles? Voilà, la coexistence entre les langues. Le Bénin compte plus de 50 langues. Et comment les langues coexistent-elles entre elles? On voit que dans certaines communes, bien, sur toute l'étendue du territoire national, c'est ce qui a fait que même nous avons voulu faire une revitalisation de la langue peul, parce que, comme je le disais dans ma présentation, c'est une communauté minoritaire, ce qui fait que il y a des langues qui prédominent dans certaines communes. Si tant est que nous ne faisons pas la revitalisation, c'est que certaines langues vont prendre le dessus sur d'autres. Voilà, d'où l'importance de ces genres d'initiatives pour permettre à toutes les langues de coexister, de ne pas mettre une langue au-dessus d'une autre et que les langues des communautés minoritaires ne disparaissent pas. Donc, c'est un peu ça. Sur la question de stratégie pour maintenir les enseignements en matière de revitalisation de la langue, ce que nous avons eu à faire lors de notre initiative, c'est de mettre en place plutôt des clubs des élèves pelous. Ces clubs sont des creusets où les élèves se retrouvent pour échanger sur la langue. Alors, ce que nous aurons à faire, c'est de rendre opérationnels ces clubs-là et de faire tout le temps le suivi pour que ça soit vraiment opérationnel. Et la deuxième chose, c'est l'alphabétisation. Ce que nous avons eu, le soutien que nous avons fait à l'Association des étudiants Peul du Nord, et il s'agira peut-être d'élargir un peu cette formation-là, mettre en place peut-être des creusets à part les formations, l'alphabétisation, il faudrait aussi qu'il y ait des creusets où ces étudiants se retrouvent aussi pour échanger, des creusets comme les causeries débats, les yéouteres que j'ai eu à parlé au début de ma présentation, ça va permettre aux étudiants et aux élèves de quand même s'essayer de tout le temps parler la langue et de partager des connaissances sur la langue Peul et aussi valoriser la culture et l'identité de la communauté Peul. C'est un peu ce que je voulais dire. Merci beaucoup.
Thank you very much for that. And thanks for the translator for making us all understand precisely it's about language. And if we didn't have a translator, we wouldn't be able to communicate with our colleague Miriam in her language because we don't speak it. So thank you so much for making this possible. And now I would like to hand it over for the second segment of this conversation to my colleague and co-facilitator, Edna Kaptoye. Edna, the floor is yours.
Carla, and thank you to our previous speakers for sharing your incredible work, the different strategies you're using to share and revitalize your language. I know we are doing it virtually, but also this is a platform really to allow you to learn amongst yourself. Pawanka learns along the way, and also for you to learn on how you're doing. And you've highlighted key areas where we think we can pick off in our concluding remarks. And so we also have other partners who'd like to share about the work that they're doing. We have Dignity Pygmy, DP, and the initiative is ongoing. They are implementing initiative amongst the Mbuti people in DRC Congo. So Marisa, you have the floor. Please share how is the revitalization of the Kipili language in strengthening.
Oui, bonjour à tous. Vous m'entendez, j'espère. Bonjour.
Oui, bien sûr.
Yes, we
te
can
reçoit,
hear.
Marisa.
Yes, we can.
Merci beaucoup. Merci beaucoup à Dada Edna de m'avoir donné la parole. Je suis vraiment très heureuse de pouvoir participer à ces webinaires qui nous permet vraiment de partager nos expériences et d'apprendre d'autres expériences de nos 3 sœurs qui ont intervenu avant moi. Et je profite aussi pour remercier Pawanka d'avoir prévu cet espace d'échange sur la revitalisation de la langue autochtone, qui, comme vous le savez, reste un processus essentiel pour préserver la diversité culturelle, préserver la mémoire collective, mais aussi renforcer notre identité en tant que communauté autochtone. Je vais un peu vous faire voyager de l'est à l'ouest de notre pays, la RDC. Et je vais commencer à partager l'initiative dont nous avons eu le privilège de mettre en œuvre en 2022 avec l'appui de Pawanka. C'est un projet pilote qui visait à soutenir le jeune et les enfants autochtones pygmées sur les défis d'accéder à une éducation de qualité durable sans pour autant les déraciner de leurs valeurs culturelles, y compris la langue. Alors, le projet a été mis en œuvre dans la province de Mai-Ndombe, à l'ouest de la RDC, dans le village de Bolingo. Et dans le village de Bolingo, il y a une école qui est dédiée aux peuples autochtones. Et là, je parle beaucoup plus des enfants et de jeunes autochtones pygmées. Pourquoi nous avons pensé à ces projets? Comme vous le savez, nous avons un problème majeur que nous rencontrons dans le milieu éducatif, surtout les jeunes et les enfants pygmées. Ils sont toujours discriminés, ils sont toujours mis de côté, déjà parce qu'ils sont autochtones. Et même si cela aujourd'hui est en train de s'atténuer, depuis que la loi portant sur la protection et la promotion des droits des peuples autochtones a été adoptée en RDC, il y a quand même toujours cette tendance à mettre les enfants et les jeunes autochtones de côté dans le milieu éducatif, ce qui cause de multiples abandons scolaires. Et même lorsque les jeunes et les enfants ont fourni beaucoup d'efforts pour réussir à poursuivre leur cursus scolaire, il y a maintenant leur valeur culturelle qui dépend des efforts qu'ils ont fournis. Et ça, c'est un réel danger pour la culture autochtone et surtout la langue. Alors, Dignité Pygmée a réfléchi à comment soutenir ou fournir un soutien équilibré entre le genre aux enfants pygmées et les jeunes, pour leur permettre de continuer à fréquenter l'école sans pour autant s'abandonner jusqu'à la fin de leur cycle primaire et dans de bonnes conditions. Comme je l'ai dit, dans le village de Bolingo, il y a une école des pygmées. Et cette école ne permettait pas vraiment aux enfants de pouvoir apprendre dans de bonnes conditions parce que les 6 classes d'école primaire qui sont à Bolingo n'avaient pas de porte, il n'y avait pas de banc et les enfants n'étaient pas vraiment bien encadrés parce qu'ils n'avaient pas de fournitures scolaires. Et grâce au soutien de Pawanka, nous avons pu réhabiliter cette école, fournir des fournitures scolaires aux enfants, mais aussi une cantine qui les permettait d'avoir un repas par jour parce que, comme vous le savez, la situation des autochtones en RDC est vraiment critique. Alors, ces cantines permettaient aux enfants d'avoir un repas pour rester concentrés tout au long de la journée pour bien étudier. L'objectif principal de ces projets était d'insérer la langue locale autochtone, les Kitois, dans le programme de l'école primaire Well, donc l'école qui est dans le village de Bolingo. Et les souhaits étaient à ce que nous puissions introduire cette langue dans le programme national. Mais comme il faut d'abord faire beaucoup de plaidoyer pour arriver à ces résultats-là, nous avons jugé bon de commencer petit à petit en insérant la langue locale dans le programme primaire de l'école. Alors, 1 heure par jour, les enfants apprennent, 1 heure par jour, ils apprennent la langue Kitois. Pendant ces 1 heure, les enfants et les jeunes apprennent à écrire, mais aussi à parler cette langue qui les identifie très bien au peuple autochtone. Ce n'est pas tout. Là, c'est dans le milieu éducatif. Mais qu'est-ce qu'on fait maintenant concrètement dans la communauté? Nous organisons des séances de dialogue entre les générations pour la transmission de la langue et la culture à la jeune génération. Et pendant ces activités communautaires, il y a des groupes, des anciens qui s'assoient avec les enfants autour du feu pour faire des contes instructifs qui font lieu à la culture des peuples autochtones. Il y a aussi la danse qui transmet non seulement le langage corporel, mais aussi les chants qui introduisent la langue et les savoirs traditionnels. Il y a aussi des séances qui sont dédiées aux femmes. Nous savons tous que les femmes passent beaucoup plus de temps avec les enfants. Alors, les femmes ont des activités précises qu'ils font avec les jeunes et les enfants. Lorsque, par exemple, ils vont dans la forêt pour récolter les produits forestiers non lignés, des activités comme la pêche, la récolte ou la cueillette. Et pendant ce temps, les femmes profitent pour enseigner aux enfants les noms de plantes dans la langue quitois, mais aussi d'autres plantes médicinales, des animaux et ainsi de suite. Alors, en 2024, nous avons encore eu l'opportunité d'étendre cette initiative, mais maintenant dans la partie est de la RDC. Et c'est dans la province du Nord Kivu, le village Mangurejipa. Et cette initiative visait maintenant à la protection du patrimoine culturel des populations autochtones Bambouti dans cette région du Nord Kivu. Et comme je le disais auparavant, nous cherchons toujours à mettre un accent sur l'apport de femmes autochtones pygmées qui sont les pionnières dans la transmission de la langue aux enfants et qui jouent un rôle très important dans la valorisation globale à travers de chants, la danse, et avec un impact très significatif sur la communauté. Parce que lorsque les enfants apprennent, ils parlent entre eux, ils font des jeux entre eux par rapport à ce que les mamans les ont appris, et cela, ça a un impact très significatif sur toute la communauté. Oui, comme nous le savons, la langue est la clé de l'identité d'une communauté. Et notre projet vise à promouvoir la culture des Bamboutis dans la province du Nord Kivu, mais aussi dans le Mai-Ndombe, en popularisant leur langue, qui est restée longtemps un mythe et qui a conduit à un rejet de cette communauté par d'autres qui ont toujours tendance à vouloir tout imposer. Alors, lorsque l'on ne pratique pas sa culture, on est exposé, on expose notre culture à l'extinction. Et c'est pour cela que nous favorisons des échanges riches et positifs entre les deux communautés. Parce que les pygmées en RDC, ils ne vivent pas seulement seuls. Il y a des communautés qui sont aux alentours et la culture et les coutumes de ces autres communautés ont toujours eu un impact sur la culture des peuples autochtones pygmées. Alors, lorsque nous favorisons des échanges riches et positifs entre les communautés, c'est pour tirer profit de valeurs de chaque communauté. Et cela nous aide à préserver la langue locale Bambouti, mais aussi à améliorer les contenus en langue locale pour l'archivage, la promotion et la vulgarisation de contenus de langue locale. Pour la partie Nord Kivu, l'objectif principal, je vais dire, du projet était de sensibiliser d'abord la communauté sur l'importance de la langue. Nous savons tous que ce n'est pas toute la communauté autochtone qui a eu le privilège d'aller à l'école et devenir intellectuel. Alors, il faut déjà commencer par sensibiliser les familles et les leaders de la communauté pour qu'ils comprennent que cette initiative ne vient pas nous ajouter d'autres problèmes, mais c'est plutôt au profit de toute la communauté. Alors, nous avons sensibilisé aussi des leaders locaux, mais aussi renforcer leur capacité pour leur implication dans la recherche que nous sommes en train de faire. La sensibilisation était l'étape numéro 1 cette initiative du côté nord de du côté est ou dans le nord Kivu. Alors, pour matérialiser tout ça, nous avons dû travailler en équipe avec un groupe de chercheurs linguistiques locaux qui documentaient déjà la langue autochtone dans cette région. Mais c'était seulement pour les élites parce qu'ils écrivaient la Bible dans la langue kitoa locale de Mangurejipa. Alors, ce n'est pas tout le monde qui pouvait accéder à ces livres ou à la Bible ou à des revues qu'ils écrivaient. Raison pour laquelle nous avons décidé de travailler avec eux pour donner aux anciens la possibilité de pouvoir s'exprimer, de donner des mots précis, leur prononciation et les expressions qui identifient très bien les peuples autochtones. Donc, le travail était d'aller dans le fin fond de la communauté pour récolter tous les données, les mots, les expressions, les termes, tout ça pour les mettre ensemble et pouvoir en faire des livres d'images, des boîtes à images aussi, pour ensuite organiser des séances, des dialogues avec les jeunes générations, mais aussi introduire cela dans leur cursus scolaire. Je vais dire introduire cela dans l'enseignement primaire au niveau local. Les souhaits restent de faire en sorte que la langue autochtone soit connue de tous pour nous permettre d'interagir avec les autres communautés sans pour autant perdre notre identité en tant que peuple autochtone. Alors, nous avons eu des défis, surtout à l'est de la RDC, parce que comme vous le savez, à l'est de la RDC, nous sommes en guerre. Nous avons donc dû suspendre nos activités en attendant qu'il y ait un accalmie de paix pour pouvoir continuer notre projet jusqu'à la fin. Mais c'est un peu ça ce que je voulais partager avec vous. Alors, les leçons apprises ont été vraiment très positives parce que aujourd'hui, à l'heure où nous parlons, les séances des dialogues entre les générations pour transmettre la langue et la culture est en train de bien évoluer. Et il y a même d'autres suggestions que la communauté nous a proposées pour archiver tout cela en demandant à ce que toutes ces séances soient documentées et médiatisées pour pouvoir atteindre un bon nombre de gens, et c'est là qu'ils peuvent apporter leur soutien pour la continuité de cette initiative. Voilà ce que je voulais partager avec vous. Merci beaucoup de m'avoir écouté et je reste disposée pour toute question.
Thank you, Marissa, for highlighting the work you're doing in DRC, Kivu region, but also how you are leveraging on the agency of women and youth to really support the language revitalization, but also the stewardship work that women and youth do within the community, and also how you're building solidarity around this work and also engaging the leadership, as well as building your archives with terms of working towards documenting, because that's important for sustaining the language. And if you have any questions, we ask the others to keep it, and then we'll open it up for the floor again. I'd now like to invite the other speaker from Pastoral Communities Empowerment Program, Rhoda, to share what creative strategies or strengths have emerged from the community, especially among the women, youth, or teachers that are helping to keep the Pokot language alive despite the systemic challenges that have been highlighted, the lack of use in the formal education system and such. And before she speaks, I think we have a video for children that would be played. One, David, Rhoda, and then Rhoda, you'll take over. Merci, Melissa. One, David, we have the video of Maria Jose. Yeah. I invite Rhoda to make her contribution.
My network is a real problem. I don't know whether I will be able to go out to the...
We can't hear you. We cannot hear you. Are you able to go out, and then if you're able to, and then we'll have another speaker speak, and then we can come back to you.
Yeah, I have a problem with the network. Yes.
Okay, and then we'll move to the next speaker, and then we can try to see how to work out your network. Yeah. So we have another speaker from Amazigh Girls Matter, and she's Samira Bendrich. As a young Indigenous Amazigh woman, she's worked with a number of organizations and also is the founder of Amazigh Girls Matter organization. And she's responsible for developing new structures and integrating innovative programs that are supporting the establishment of partnership through intercultural and cross-border projects. And she has been able to develop creative ways, drawing on her past experiences and to support Amazigh girls in education, especially in rural areas. And her work has been able to be recognized. So Samira, you have 10 minutes at least to share about your work in language revitalization. And speak slowly in case you're using French for the interpreters. Thank you.
Sorry for the technical problem. Happy to be presented and attended this webinar, which is very, very interesting for our organization. And I'm super proud and happy to meet all of this perspective and different backgrounds that can help us for creation and innovation in our work as well. In terms of inspiration, my name is Samira Bendriwish. I'm a representative of Amazigh Girl Matter. Why Amazigh Girl? Because if we want to have a leader of women of tomorrow, we have to concentrate of girls of today in terms of orientation, in terms of in terms of guidance and also mentoring to have a leader of tomorrow. So this is our mission, and we believe that our girls of today can be our lead women of tomorrow. Thanks to the project of COPTECH that is funded by Pawanka Fund, which is the first support of our organization. We started 2023 with the Pawanka Fund, and now we have a bunch of partners thanks to the trust of Pawanka. Why COPTECH? So COPTECH is a combination, is a synergy between cooperation, which is one of the principles of our Amazigh culture and Amazigh identity. So through our culture and our diversity, we can find democracy, good governance, and cooperation. All of this concept, it's not brought by like outside of our country or our nation, but exists in our land, exists with our culture as well. So we try to make the combination between both of the concepts, cooperation and technology. So thanks to the diagnosing that we have already like implemented with Pawanka, we find that different women, cooperated women struggling, facing different marginalizations and aspects and in different spheres. And also they don't succeed to success in their projects or in the entrepreneurship activities that they are like creating. So we are targeting two target groups. So women with the cooperatives or cooperated women, and another like target group, which is girls in the rural areas who have diplomas, who have different skills, soft skills, but they don't have jobs, and cooperated women who have different, I don't know if I shared the presentation or not with you. Is it already shared?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So, who have diplomas, who have everything, but they don't have jobs. And the cooperated women who have a barrier of language because they are Amazigh and they don't speak other languages. And the training that is in the previous training that they are attending, because we don't have a lack of training, we don't have a lack of even for instance, for the cooperated women, there is a lot of opportunities for fundraising. But the problem here is that they don't benefit from the training that they are attending because almost of them it's in Arabic. So they don't understand the concepts of the cooperation. They don't understand the concept of entrepreneurship and how they can grow up with their project. So we try to focus on this project in three dimensions. The micro is for the leadership, the performance, and also the meso is the quality of the product that they are making. The macro is the cooperative itself. Is it legal or not? So this is our service offering. So we go through the incubator, which is mobile incubator and digital incubator. We have platforms that we are working with indigenous people, but they are also girls that is supporting our mission. Girls with soft skills that helping us to be like mentoring of proximate solidarity. So they are helping us to go through the isolated zone to make our incubator and our mission possible, to know about the skills of the target group, to know if they are looking for jobs or they want to establish their project. All of these things in order to have an integration in the socio-economic life. So we started with diagnosing, training, and mentoring. And there is some numbers of the the participations that we are handling now in our incubator, 150 women, that is with the business plan. They have all business plans. They have trained through the needed training in the mother tongue language. So we want to mention that our project with Pawanka is about transforming the training that is in different languages to be in Tamazight, but also to be digitalized with application which is without Wi-Fi. Here you can see some hackathons that is held in the universities. There is a bunch of participation of international participants, and also in universities outside of Morocco, in France, in Belgium, in different universities, and also selecting the case of Amazigh Girl Matter to make their case studies of social innovation. And also we targeted young people who have diplomas in development, web development, in management, in different things, to create a platform for diagnosing the real needs, operation diagnosing, general diagnosing, because we believe that if we want to help this woman, we need to understand their real needs. Sometimes they are speaking about we need transportation, we need to access to the marketplace or the market, and they don't have certificate, they don't have the capacity of production, they don't have a lot of things. Sometimes even cooperated women, they don't understand real needs that they have. That's why we want to build our diagnostic items based on the scientific items. That's why we targeted all the universities that we have in order to work together and to share our experiences. Here's some of the training that we had with the girls of our villages in Tamazight language as well. And here's some training we created even some competitions for these young people who created these applications, and some visits to the cooperative, and we have some round table with these different universities to set up our problematics, to have different solutions, not only from our organization, but also we need to be shared, to be our voice to be raised, and to look for other alternative solutions and mutual solutions. Here's some training as well with the different tools in the rural. And here's some exhibitions for local product as well. We try to motivate this woman to create exhibitions in places which is near to the beaches, where is the tourist is exist and or the targeted by tourists. So we trying to make the dynamic and to create the ecosystem between young people and cooperated women, to all of them work together hand in hand to create like mutual solutions. Here's some training as well with different groups to create the business plans. And also we invited all the institutions, the local and the regional institutions, and sometimes some national institutions attended in our spaces to share fundraising opportunities for the women. Here some also like meetings for raising awareness about different programs that is related to the green economy and social and solidarity. Here we even try to meet the Prime Minister of Morocco to raise awareness about our project and to communicate our problematics, local needs. We try also to integrate other programs that is bringing fundraising opportunities for 150 women in Swiss Mesa. Here we created a union for cooperatives because we believe that every cooperative cannot work alone. So we need almost of them to be like linked, to be one family. They create an argan oil, for instance, or for example. So they need to work together, not only one cooperative, because even when we bring some like when we market their local product, we bring some companies, but they are speaking about a huge quantity of the product. So one cooperative cannot access to this like large markets. We try to create other concepts with our platforms as well and share it with different partners. Here was like a platform that we are created with the French embassy as well. We even go together to universities far of like out of our comfort zone, like Akhawan University, to share because sometimes we believe that even for myself, I learned when I go out of my comfort zone. So I believe that if a woman or a girl change her comfort zone, she can create something, innovation. She can do something, she can learn something which is new. Here are some boot camps of how we can brand our local product, how we can create a logos even with canvas and simple things, and how we can make a packaging. And also we try to communicate with territorial communes or the representative of territorial communes or regions. So we need the support of every part. So we want to make to not have like barriers in our missions. We want to show up what we are doing and to convince other partners. Here some also initiative with different parliamentarians and ministers, and even we try to do our best with the European Union's representative and to be published in different like newspapers or even program their magazines. Here are some meetings with different embassies, and we try to share our mission as well. Different partners, we look for fundraising opportunities, and we believe that since Pawanka believe in our effort and our work, we can find other people can believe in us, and thanks to the Pawanka, we find different partners as well. Here are some visits to Catalan with our women. We visit different cooperatives to like learn about their the exchange of languages. I mean knowledge. Sorry, we try even there is no. Because in Catalan also they are native people and they have the same problems that we face as well. So maybe it helps us to show up our mission with the Amazigh community as well. Here our team, and thank you so much for your attending to our presentation. And many thanks for Pawanka for this initiative and this opportunity to share and to be part of this amazing network.
Thank you, Merci Samira, for highlighting the importance of language as well, and how revitalizing the Tamazight language and the link to really support the work you're doing in terms of supporting women and youth in the socioeconomic empowerment, because without the language itself, they could not be able to strengthen the work that they're doing locally, and also building solidarity, and also the innovation that you've used digital apps to really facilitate the learning and the linkage amongst the different Amazigh community. I know time is going, and also I would like to check. So thank you, Samira, for that. And if people have questions, we'll open up the floor for feedback and reflections before we close. But I'd like to get back to Pasep to see if you're able to do with the audio without the video, if you're able to share briefly about your work. If not, we still have other opportunities as well for our partners to share.
Thank you, Edna.
Yeah,
I think I can share.
Sure.
I've tried to get where I can get network. I hope you can hear me.
We can hear you. Please go ahead.
Okay. Pastoral Community Empowerment Program is our organization, PASEP, and we work among the Pokot communities, indigenous community, which actually hold language as very dear to make them united. It helps them to have dignity, and it's actually a way of protecting their environment, a way of connecting to ecosystem. It's also a way of connecting to the past, the present, and the future. So when I'm sharing this issue of the revitalization of the knowledge, of the language, it's like also revitalizing the indigenous knowledge, which is supposed to be passed from the elders to the present generation and to the future generations. I would like to say that in our organization, we are able to target some certain objectives, and I will just explain about the areas where we were able to intervene in revitalizing Pokot language. We trained the elders, the youth, the women, and the children in order to build their capacity to realize that their language is very important, and also in a way that to make them know that to learn language is very vital for many things. And for that reason, we have been able to train so many people. We are in the middle of the project, and we are planning to continue training, and we have trainers which are supposed to train others. And for this reason, we also have the intergenerational dialogue. And in intergenerational dialogue is passing of knowledge from the elders again to the youths, and then youths also are supposed to pass to the others. And this intergenerational dialogue is done every time as we have forums and also trainings. And we see that the intergenerational dialogue is very nice because children learn a lot, and we've used the elders to make sure that they have structured topics. For example, we don't do just talk anyhow. One time we have topics on relationship, human relationship of human to the ecosystem, and different biodiversity that exists in the ecosystem. We have also the intergenerational dialogue on taboos, on our cultural traditional dances, their songs, children song games, and sometimes we also have in the generational dialogue to see how the children, the youths, and the others who are still learning the language are able to know their proverbs and the meanings of those proverbs. So we have a lot. We have Pokot poems, and in Pokot, if I can explain a bit, we are based on clans, and all clans know their totems, and these totems are coming from the animals, birds, snakes, crocodiles, so many things. So we are, in a way, we want to tell the generations that we are related, we are biodiversity, that we need to keep the language going in order for us to give the relationship of the universe as well as the earth that we are staying to be related. And on that, the elders, as I could put it, elders have been able to document, which we are still to print. They have been able to document folk tales. We have already now like folk tales. We have riddles. We have the proverbs in place. We have the Pokot calendar in place also, which the elders have done. And in this calendar, we put the different animals, different plants, different insects, and different all biodiversity that appear in different months for the children to understand their seasons and be able to learn to know what to do at the different seasons. Apart from that, we have also done documentation, and we have come up with the vowels, Pokot vowels. We have 7 of them. Vowels, which is opposed to the 5 vowels that we have in English. And we have also the alphabets, and our pronunciation are different from the others. As others had said before, that the small tribes are lumped in bigger tribes. Even the Pokot, we have been lumped in Kalenjin, but our pronunciation and our way of life is different. And why we saw that important to teach the language or to revitalize the language is because we have seen that the modern education, or the education which has been there and which is there up to now, is an embedment to our language. It started from colonial, where the indigenous language was punished. Even during my time, we used to whisper when we want to talk, because sometimes we would not know the good English. So we would whisper, and so that nobody can punish us. But when you are hard, you are beaten properly. So those are the things we have made languages to disappear, which we want to revitalize as a result of that. We have also targeted the school. Already we have 4 schools, which are pilot schools. They have clubs. And what I want to say, which I heard others saying, that the education system does not consider the indigenous language, but I've seen for the last 3 years, the CBC in Kenya is going towards introducing the indigenous languages in schools. But what they lack is the materials. They don't have facilities, they don't have materials, they don't have teachers who are trained to carry on the indigenous language. So, and the policies, they are not there to strengthen that. So teachers are there, they are very ready, because we have gone to these schools and you saw the children singing. They are very ready to learn, but they don't have the materials. So with the Pawanka, we have been able now to make charts, the alphabetical charts. We have made the calendar. We have also trained the teachers to enable the children be able even to name their parts of their own body, from the hair to the toe, which was not there because they would name it in English and Kiswahili, but in Pokot language, they don't understand. They would not understand. So in essence, we see that the elders are the custodians of the language, and that is what we have used so much to make sure that we document as much as possible, as I said, the riddles, the proverbs, the sacred songs, the prayers, way of praying, and when, and also to make sure that these elders are able to transfer this, because we are having very few now. Already the old age is catching up with them. And then on another thing we are targeting is the mothers. Every time in the evening when the mothers are cooking, children are sitting around waiting for food. And when they cook, we also encourage them to teach their children these riddles, also teach their children the norms and the taboos that are there, tell them the sacred places, show the children the seeds and the different types and the importance of these seeds, tell them, even teach them on the issue of the herbal medicines, because most children do not understand the importance of certain trees. And we have a lot of herbal medicines which can be very important for us. Besides this, also the care on the environment is part of what we are revitalizing the language for. Mothers in the evening would teach the children how to harvest and not to destroy the environment for the sake of the future generations. Like, for example, when they harvest firewood or they go and pick medicine, they should pick some so that tomorrow they still have a share to go and take again to help them tomorrow and then another day and in the future. On the issue of the youths are very, very, very vibrant. They use WhatsApp, which we are happy. After we train them to document, they are collecting a lot of information on cultural issues for us. Like they keep on adding the proverbs, collecting from different areas, and we are feeding our archive also on that, and so that we can have enough that we can manage to document. They use WhatsApp also to challenge one another, putting riddles there so that the others can answer, because this is a way of challenging themselves. And the youths have come up to make sure that the traditional music instruments are brought back, like the guitar, like the flute, like the using of the horns, and even different types of instruments. They are doing that. And for PASEP, we want to make this one to be a continuous thing for future, and even to continue on. And we've realized that the best approach in schools is to make labs and enable these children who are interested to be champions of the language, so that we can continue. Also, use radios to meet bigger population through speaking radio programs, and elders going there to challenge the youths to be able to learn their language. And also, these radios, we use them to get the ear of the government, especially our county government, so that they can understand that they need to put the indigenous language, like the Pokot language, to be started in the ECDs, which I saw. They responded, and when we went to the radio, everybody was calling and saying, this thing must continue. We should make them into sort of videos so that we can take from one sender to another sender, which shows that the youths are really receiving it, and they are singing songs now in Pokot language, which was not there before. And they can speak, they can now even greet, they know who is an auntie, who is a mother, and how it is pronounced, and the pronunciation of these different things. And that's what we are happy about. And we see also that the youths are very vibrant, because all the time they are up to show even the traditional dancing. They are up, they want to practice the food systems, which were not there before. And they ask so many questions, showing that they are interested in that. And that is what we are using also as PASEP, to make sure that the younger generation continue learning from us. And finally, I want to say that there are so many challenges which face indigenous language revitalization. One of them is the issue of the tools of collection and the documenting, and the archiving, how it should be stored. We need actually support on that, and I know everybody is facing that. And even as you saw now, I'm not able to communicate very well because of the lack of network. I've been moving around to make sure that the network can be stable. So the technological know-how is what we are lacking as indigenous people, and that's where we need. And then the issue of the collaboration, we need also to collaborate and have partnership, have an association, language association, where we can move from one place to meet another person who has done the same, to learn and develop from there. Despite that, I think I can say that one thing which moved me one time is when an elderly lady was singing a lullaby song to a baby which their daughter left. And when she sang, I was moved because it was within only 2 seconds and the child was asleep. And the mother was singing this song. And these are things that we have lost. So I think I should read them. But if there's any question, you can ask me. Thank you.
Thank you, Rada, for highlighting the work PASEP is doing in revitalizing language, and the importance really as a connector of the different, the past, the present, and the future, but also the work you're doing in terms of leveraging support from the school system with your pilots, and also using the intergenerational dialogue as a platform to really have thematic discussions to support the language revitalization. So we appreciate that, and I think we picked a number of things as well, and I think we've seen a lot of our speakers highlight challenges, but also different strategies they're using to revitalize language, but also really giving recommendation what's needed really to continue this kind of work. So I'd like to see if, to open the floor, if there are any questions, reflections from this point, and if you have any specific question to our speakers that you've heard from PASEP, you've heard from Dignity Pygmy, and also from Amazigh Girls Matter. So it's an open session. Before we close, we know we are well beyond past the 2-hour mark. Because also see some of the speakers who were also key, like Dengue, Roba, but we'll also have these conversations also throughout the year upcoming.
Good afternoon, brother. Hello.
It's Edna speaking. Yeah, Dengue. Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, do you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes,
Robert.
Yes. Edna and the team, good afternoon, good morning, good evening. Do you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear
Edna?
you. Tunakupata vizuri, Dengue.
Okay, thanks so much. I have no much question, but somehow I'm very much excited. And I thank Pawanka for giving us this platform. I've realized that most of the problem across the globe is, especially on the language, indigenous language translation is the same and is similar. I just want to say some 2 to 3 issues that I can affirm in summary of what our presenters have said. The issue of indigenous problem of the indigenous language have been seen very clearly on loss of language often lead to the weakening of the cultural values that also the practices and the oral history that the elders normally give them. And the community cohesion, lack of language learned by the new generation will also have a sort of erosions of the cultural identity. The risk of being extincting of the indigenous language due to the reduce among the young generation was also a big problem that come out among all the presenters, which also we have the same experience. Children are often not learning their mother tongue, especially currently what is happening in our area, northern Kenya, the Oromo people. The modern life, children are being cared by the caretakers. These caretakers are not from the same community. They don't understand this language. When they come back evening, you'll find that the child is on TV. You'll find that the child is keeping a phone or running for phone to you. Then for the child to learn their language, it is very difficult. You can find that children in urban areas, they don't understand their language, neither do they understand their culture. This, of course, eventually, it brings also the language is not being documented. With the little records that we have, audio records, we don't have written content of documents have been done very minimal. So what we are also doing is the same. So in this discussion, the greatest takeaway from our side is the youth, when they are connecting from the young youth are much excited in connecting with their languages and the culture when we engage with the cultural group, the school, and also the revitalization is strengthen the cultural resilience of the community empowerment, and also there is a cultural continuity and intergenerational connections. The urban people or children, the urban raised children often lose their mother tongue. This is also what we have now seen, because the children are not connected with their parents. The children are not connected with their elder children. Of course, they don't understand the language. So they are losing their mother tongue. Even in the absence of formal writing system, oral traditional sustain linguistic knowledge, like oral storytelling, songs, proverbs, as one of our colleagues said. These are all the common problems that we have as indigenous community, especially in these indigenous people. The external support, must be culturally sensitive. The external support must be culturally sensitive in a sense that, like now, our partner like Pawanka have been the most impactful when they align with our community values, empower our local initiative, rather than being exposed external knobs. So the community also, they are very happy on how the partners are also engaging with them. And of course, the positive takeaway from our partner, we have now a strong tie that indigenous people around the Horn of Africa. Now, on this platform that we are talking about, we are connected with the world. We know what is happening across the world. We know what is happening now in Uganda. We are getting all information, like we are getting all the information. Almost our problem are the same. Also, our partners, they are giving us awareness on appreciation of indigenous language in public life, which is very important. Pawanka also support us in revitalization of indigenous knowledge, and this value is inevitable, very important to us. Community also have that empowered to recover the linguistic identity that lost. They are recovering. We are also trying to improve recording and conversations of linguistic diversity. So with our positive experience with our partners, and also with our strength that we have the youth that eager to learn and preserve their culture, and also the strong sensitive of identity motivate indigenous people to lead language revitalization initiative. This also it's very important to us. And the network for skilled elders and the cultural specialists that assist us in this process of now intergenerational transformation is also very important. And I say for this, the entire session that we are having today, I must say we learned a lot, and I said I appreciate the Pawanka for this platform, and we hope we continue on this forum. It will help us to learn better. That is the summary I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Denge, for your input, and we appreciate the work that you're doing, and especially really weaving all the discussions we've had earlier. So thank you for really highlighting the importance of that, and also the significance for community cohesion and really strengthening linguistic diversity. So I see a request from the floor from Mary, and then after Mary we'll have Basele. Mary, you requested for the floor. Or if Mary is not yet ready, we have Basele.
Yeah, thank you, Edna, for giving me this chance. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning to all our friends and indigenous people across the world who are in the meeting. mine would just be a contribution towards, proper way of revitalizing language. The challenge we have currently is children, because again, most of these revitalization efforts should actually be targeting young people, intergenerational knowledge transfer, because they are the ones who can sustain it for the future. And therefore, most our revitalization efforts should be directed towards that. One of the challenge we have is that most of the revitalization efforts are directed towards the traditional ways, rather than our children and the young people today. They spend a lot of time on screens, on computers, on phones, mobile phones, on televisions. Therefore, we need to take revitalization efforts to where they are, to their doorsteps. We need to, it's indigenous languages and indigenous cultures can be digitized. It can be, if you see how norms are, if you go to every household today, and urban and that, peri-urban and urban, you'll find children watching Cocomelon. Some even listening to languages they don't understand. Baby Shark, if everyone will sing to Baby Shark, and stuff like that. Now, how about if we avail, indigenous wisdom, indigenous songs, traditional proverbs in form of digital systems, so that our children, even in those places, can listen to our folk songs, the traditional folklore in their own language. You make animations, cartoons that speak, if I see a cartoon speaking in Rendile, I will really be very happy, and if my child, I'm pretty sure they will also love to hear, because there is a way that indigenous language divinity connects, and the nature, it connects. There's a way you can connect easily, and therefore we need to stop using traditional ways. Yes, we can continue the traditional ways to document as a start, but the end goal should be, how do we then make this knowledge and this language available via digital tools. Artificial intelligence is one great advancement today. I've seen some efforts to use artificial intelligence to even create languages that are extinct. Artificial intelligence can be used to ensure that our languages are revitalized. But as we do this, we also need to build community ownership. If you imagine an elder, like if that little kid, when you are starting, I think the young child from, I think, either Gabriel or Roma speaking language, leading that prayer, that needs to be available all over, so that it creates, we give others that challenge. It challenges others so that we are able to ensure that our languages live in eternity. We need to balance the two, but at least we need to take this language revitalization to the children's doorsteps. Thank you.
Thank you, Basale. Mary, are you able to speak now?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Thank you, Edna, and thank you for all the staff of Pawanka. I'm very happy even today to hear the speakers, and I have learned a lot. What I would want to say that the language, for us especially, it become very important. As I was saying, that if we have the missionaries, because we have to go where the language started. As I was saying, that the language was taught by the missionaries, and then they taught our fathers. But our father, when they left the countryside to town, the language just died. And again, our people, they came back to learn the language because of the war. The war which started in Sudan in 1982, which made our people to go back. They have to learn the language as to be safe. Because whenever you are in a place and you are told in Arabic, in our language, run because the enemy are coming, if you don't know the language, you will just be killed. This is where our language become up again. Then the churches, they start teaching the young ones the language as to at least to be safe. When the enemy come and the mothers or the father call them to run in the language, they can just run. So for me, especially, as I was saying that I have learned a lot, and I want to tell my sister from West Pokot, whenever we have peace in Sudan, this is the first country we're coming to visit, because what they are doing, it is the same what the Lebanon Nuba Women Development Organization is doing. And the Lebanon Nuba Women Development Organization, we were just starting with women. We were not adding the youth or the elderly people. But what I have learned now, we have just joined them. So Pawanka, I want to give them the great thanks. And I wish the peace will be back in Sudan and we can work with them again, because they are the one who gave us the fund for us to open schools for the youth in Nuba Mountain. And Nuba Mountain, when we say Nuba Mountain, some of you can hear that Nuba Mountain is 99 mountains. And it is true, 99 mountains. And the languages is different, and even the way we behave, the culture, everything is different. But our elder people, when they said we can't have the 99 languages, we have to reduce it every 2, 3, or 5 group who are the languages are a bit nearer, they can join together. So they reduce it from 99 to 53 languages. And now the language, all the Christian areas, they're the one, they now have Bibles, they have hymn, and they have some small books in their languages. But my question here will be that if we are having 99 mountains, how are we going to work with this group? Because all the Nuba mountains that they're starting saying that the people who speak their language, they're the one in peace. But the others, because they don't know their languages, and they don't know how to keep themselves. And again, because of Pawanka, we have joined like 10 indigenous organizations in Nuba Mountain. So every 15 days, and from the first of the month and the end of the month, we have that gathering. And I heard from West Pokot, they said we have some talks with the elder people and with the youth. And that's one exactly what you are doing there. And we have topics, and they start teaching their youth to know about their culture in elder days, how they were living, how they will go to cultivation, what they do, the songs they sing. So we have that issue. And other organizations, they're telling us, you, the Lebaya, if you don't want to continue with that issue, we will take it away from you. Imagine if you come up with an idea and someone else wants to take it away from you. So I am very, very happy. Maybe I will be happier than the others who has attended this session. And I wish the next time I will be around there so we can talk a lot. And thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary, and we are glad that the session is useful to our partners in co-learning. Mutual learning is important, and we aim to build solidarity, amongst our Indigenous women, Indigenous organizations, youth groups in different parts of the world, and hopefully we'll have the conversation even across the regions to learn amongst each other. And Pawanka used to facilitate that learning exchange in person, but then during COVID transition to virtual, and we have more partners participating virtually. I see okay, I don't see the request anymore. Yeah, so I see a request from Margaret. If you can keep it brief, and then we will, yeah. Margaret?
Thank you so much, Edna. To me, I would love to say that exactly what Rhoda talked about is the true picture that the language or the languages can be captured in terms of calendars, alphabetical order, letters, and putting this curriculum objects, showing children in our mother tongue is one of the methods that we can really use for tapping our children to know the language. The procedures that Rhoda has done is it's a very good method that she has done in that bringing all the systems into place. These days our children like learning only English. It's even our pleasure to endeavor and put also that in the school curriculum. You see, for us, You see, for us, most of the things now, English has spoiled everything. A child comes from home knowing, even some knowing how to speak English, but doesn't know the mother tongue. And secondly, this is encouraged by us, the mothers. It's up to us to come into these trainings to make sure that our languages are not forgotten. And also sometimes putting children to learn about radio talk shows, using our own mother language, not English. So I'm very grateful for the initiative Rhoda took for this initiative on tapping the language through objects, through very, very many other things. I listened. I also looked at the norms. More or less, very many people have amulets that they are looking at. We have a giraffe, which people have belongs to the giraffe, which people belongs to the elephant, the grass. We have those kind of things. So if we put those things into place and make our children to learn, I think our indigenous knowledge cannot be forgotten. That's what I wanted to contribute. Thank you so much to all our members who have contributed or who have ever implemented this kind of activities. It's a pleasure to us. It's really very, very interesting that I have learned today. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Margaret. Thank you for your contribution. So we have a question from our partner from DRC, from Marifa Mama Vijijini. They want to ask participants, in the case of DRC, we have 450 ethnic groups. How can we make the process of implementing indigenous language a reality? And in addition, there has been multiple war, and sometimes we have growth in our capital city. Does Pawanka consider supporting partners even at the capital city level, especially in fragile situation, to preserve their culture, and also if villages are affected by conflict here? Pawanka's partnerships, we have partners who are working in urban settings and supporting, because we understand communities live in different settings. And I think my colleague Carla will also contribute to that. Pawanka works with partners, and I think one of our partners from Benin also are tapping into the youth who are also living within the urban setting. Even in Kenya, from Robert highlighted as well, they are working with youth in rural areas, but also in urban settings to revitalize the language. And I think whether you are 1,000 indigenous language endangered, and I think that's important to revitalize, since each language is unique and that's acknowledged globally. But I'd like our speakers, Marisa, Rhoda, and also Samira, if you have each 1 minute to give your reflections on the comments and also your final reflections before we conclude. Yeah. So I'll start with from the last one, Rhoda, and then we'll go to Marisa and then Samira.
Okay, thank you so much. I want to say that I've heard people saying that we should put our children to learn from the TVs and also the radios. Yeah, they are nice, but there's a time which I've known when they are so much immersed in radios and TVs, and then there will be a lot of disconnection between us and our children, and that is what we try as elders to fight, so that we need that cohesion where we learn from one another. There are things you can learn from the technology, and there are things that you have to learn from the people themselves. You have to work with the people. So like the apprenticeship, you cannot learn like the clay, the type of clay and where it's collected, and make a pot. So there are some things which I can say that we need to learn from working with the elders in order for us to learn, like pastoralism. You cannot learn from the TV because the contexts are different. You need to learn from the person who has practiced that. So there are things which are practical, the food systems and so on, that you can learn from the community. So in a way, I want to say that as much as we want to modernize our traditions, we need also to make sure that our traditions are not brainwashed in a way that we are going to lose them and completely forget to have the real traditions that we had. So another thing I want to say, for most indigenous languages, Pawanka, you should understand that it is Pawanka which has made other people for the first time, to write even those alphabets that we are saying, the charts and and even to start the dictionaries, to start the festivals that we are trying to make now and make them vibrant. So we want to thank Pawanka, and we want to say that Pawanka, if it is possible, we ask you to have long-term partnership, especially on the language, because 1 year would be a problem, or a shorter time would be a problem, because documenting and seeing that it has come to reality takes more time. And I want to say that we are very thankful for that, for this platform, and we wish that another platform could be done so that we learn from one another. Thank you.
Samira, if you have one final word.
Hello, everyone. The only thing that I want to add is that thank you so much for your effort, for everything, the opportunity that you gave, and you believe in our organization. It was a small organization for girls, and today we have different partners, and also we targeted 150 women, and there is a possibility of like getting their like funding for their own projects. And also we get into a space which is already closed for 7 years, and today they gave it to us because they believe in our network and our ecosystem that we built with women, with young people, and now it's active again in terms of realizing what they have. Already, I'm in my way, so that's why it's noisy a little bit. So
It's okay, Samira. You can send us your thoughts when you're able to. Yeah, we understand.
yeah,
Okay.
and that's one.
Thank you, Samira. Marisa, any final words, reflections?
Oui, merci beaucoup, Dada Edna, de me redonner la parole. Tout ce que je peux dire est que cette conversation a été vraiment très enrichissante parce que j'ai beaucoup appris de mes sœurs qui m'ont précédé avec leur présentation et c'était vraiment riche. J'ai même tiré des leçons que nous pourrions appliquer dans nos communautés respectives, je vais dire dans ma communauté respective. Il est vrai que la RDC est vraiment très grand et en ce qui concerne les langues, nous avons au moins 400 langues et des dialectes. Alors, pour pouvoir arriver à réaliser de projets linguistiques, c'est vraiment un grand challenge, mais je pense qu'il est important de commencer d'abord petit. Le premier pas, c'est de commencer dans nos communautés respectives et voir comment est-ce qu'on peut étendre l'initiative dans d'autres communautés ou d'autres langues. Et en ce qui concerne les méthodes modernes pour la transmission de la culture ou bien de la langue, c'est bien beau de commencer avec la nouvelle technologie, mais il y a nos anciens qui ne connaissent pas vraiment comment utiliser la nouvelle technologie. Et pourtant, c'est auprès d'eux qu'on va d'abord puiser les savoirs culturels et la langue pour pouvoir en utiliser peut-être sur les réseaux sociaux. Donc, je pense qu'il est important de combiner les deux stratégies, apprendre des anciens, les savoirs culturels et interagir avec la nouvelle technologie ou la méthode moderne pour pouvoir aller de l'avant et utiliser tout ceci sur des réseaux sociaux pour atteindre un bon nombre de gens. Merci beaucoup à Pawanka et à toutes mes sœurs qui ont intervenu et à tous les participants pour les questions et les commentaires qui ont été vraiment riches et instructifs.
Merci, Asante Marisa. And we also empathize with our partners from DRC, Sudan, also who are in conflict situation. We hope normalcy will return and that communities can continue to thrive. So we empathize with that. And just to close off, since I don't see any feedback, it's just to let you know as partners, we leave our communications open. You can share with us anytime your feedback, inputs, reflections on language. Since we also want you to anchor your work within the International Decade on Indigenous Languages, to also share what you're doing, but also as Pawanka, we have a campaign this year focusing on community voices to highlight the work that you're doing to make it more visible, take it a notch higher. And our communication team is supporting a lot of that with the programs team, and hope will make visible your work. Just to close off, I think a number of key takeaways we've had from the session is that each of our partners is employing various strategies really to revitalize and preserve the language. It's whether you are doing intergenerational learning, the dialogues, whether you're having clubs, festivals, all those platforms really to revitalize the language are important. And the storytelling, you've highlighted, a lot of you are doing documentation work, whether using digital tools or even developing curriculums. And also an important part is where you're also going into partnerships to ensure the sustainability of the work that you're doing. As well, we've taken note that you've also emphasized the importance of really long-term support in this kind of language work, to really continue strengthening the work you're doing and also to build the resourcing and to document that. So hopefully the conversation has been rich for you, and also we'll be able to share the recording. And of course, we hope as well you'll also connect amongst Indigenous organizations to keep the conversation going, and we'll be able to facilitate that. If you want to learn from the others, we can share the contacts as well. I now pass it on to Kalabush to finalize this part of the session. And thank you to our partner, Serenyo.
Thank you very much, Edna, for the co-facilitation. This was a very, as you mentioned, enriching session, and I'm not going to repeat because it's been exactly 3 hours on this. And in Pawanka, we make sure that we do not stop or any sessions or any conversation. If there is need to talk, we will continue to talk. But we are mindful and respectful of your time. So we want to make sure that we have 2 minutes more to just say goodbye and thank you so much for this opportunity. And we will continue having this opportunity to continue sharing these learnings that we have. One thing we learned from today, among many, but I wanted to highlight this one, is that we opened up this opportunity that if you haven't had the chance before to meet among yourself, you have it now. I will ask my colleagues here, each one of them, and Edna more than any one of us here, please reach out to Edna for the contact of your partners that you're here if you don't have it. We're more than happy if you allow us to share your contact so that you could meet and expand this conversation that started today. Please interact among yourself. This is just a bit of what we want you to have, but we want you to have bilaterals. If you want us to have this platform open for you to meet and have smaller group of sessions, please let us know, and we will more than anything else facilitate that with pleasure. Let us know and we can do that. I have nothing more to add than to say thank you to Dengue. You did wonderful in summarizing exactly what our partners and speakers said. It was wonderful how you brought in that perspective of summarizing the problem of language. Thank you so much for that. I love the highlights. Basically, I love everything you call about the contribution on the revitalization of the language. Mary, I really appreciate the way you brought in the perspective of how language has brought in from the very beginning the history of when it started and how it started, because it's true. They brought in language, the missionaries brought language because they wanted us to understand their languages and forget a little bit of our mother tongue. And then how, from that perspective, how we all started with the war, if we didn't know the common language, how people got killed, and how more and more it was important to bring in that other language. That's very important. And how more and more every day we need to come back to our roots and bring that. Margaret, I really love the perspective that you put on the table of the procedure, the different strategies that you kept to how to continue to restore, and the importance of the mother language, that to have that thing, and the recognition of that by Rhoda and all of that. But there is so much to continue talking and so much to continue keep it on that table. Thank you to my colleague, Maria Jose, for all her notes. I'm so sorry I don't want to read all of that, but we have wonderful notes that we will share with you guys about this, because all our colleagues here kept, we have the minutes of this meeting that we will share with you, and we have all the notes. All I need to ask now is if you could take off, if you have good connection, please remove your camera so we can take a beautiful picture. We stay on the history of this first session, and you get the names behind the camera. Thank you so much. So Juan David, you could tell us when we make that beautiful smile and we all come out on this. Thank you so much. Take a picture of us, and we will then say thank you so much to everyone for making time. Could you believe we start with 30 ad and we still have 30 ad? At some point it went 40 ad, but so this has been a very enriching session. Thank you so very much. Juan David, tell us when it's there.
Okay, I will take the picture in 3, 2, 1. Smile. Okay, there you go.
And
Thank you very much.
Thank you to our interpreter, David, for
Oh,
the
yes.
work. I know it's not easy doing that.
Excusez-moi, ma caméra avait un souci. Donc, vous allez dû voir la couleur verte et non mon visage. Désolée, toutes mes excuses. J'ai un souci avec la caméra.
My beloved
you,
Joseph,
everyone.
I saw you.
Hi, Carla. Hello, everyone.
Thank you all. Have a wonderful rest of the day and weeks.
Okay, bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thanks.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for everything.
You're more than welcome. Thank you very much for being here.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Rhoda. It's nice to see you.
Thank you. Thank you.